Welcome to the new era of the Avengers. It's not a spoiler, it's everywhere. Come on.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Hello there, Clapperheads, and welcome to a brand new edition of ClapperTalks. I'm Nick Dorian.
And I'm Kelvin Tay.
And yes, what was formerly known as the Thunderbolts, after a post-credit scene, is now the new Avengers.
With your feet on the air, your head on the ground. Try to stay and spin. Yeah.
Oh no.
Who are you?
I'm Bob.
Who sent you, Bob?
Nobody. You were all sent?
Yeah, and it's really not a spoiler because they have been promoting
It's
it everywhere.
everywhere.
All the posters have changed. Even GSC's website is like the new Avengers.
Which is a bold move from Marvel. Just 3 days after the film release, they're like, you know what? Forget it. The post-credit scene, everyone knows it now.
Yep.
So let's just call it the new Avengers because that's what they are. And clearly, the old Avengers are
Missing, busy, being a dad.
old.
Old, right?
One's being Doctor Doom. But now we have the new Avengers, and let's just say I think we're both in agreement with this, that this is possibly one of the better Marvel films.
I would say we're both in the same camp where we agree that this is one of the better Marvel films in a long time
Yes.
since
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, since Guardians 3 and also Endgame itself, because Marvel has been hitting a lot of misses recently.
Sorry, what is going on with my mic?
As hold on. Sorry, where was I?
Yeah, my mic seemed to be in disagreement
Yeah.
with me.
I actually forgot where we
Oh,
were.
dear. Okay, so we were talking about
Guardians
So the
since
Galaxy.
Endgame, and Marvel has been hitting more misses than they have, hitting
it's-
home runs. It's unfortunate, right? Let's talk about the spoiler-free part of it,
Yes.
right? As usual, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do the spoiler-free part, and then we're going to give you a warning, and then we're going to go to... And then we're going to go to the spoiler field,
filled
right?
bit. Because at the end of the day, sure, we've got the new Avengers spoiled already. But past that, everything else is pretty much still like, okay, what's happening, what's going on, who is Sentry, who is all that.
Yep.
So we're going to be basically explaining to you why you should be watching the film. And then the ones that have watched the film, just keep on listening.
Or you just add a timestamp, and then you can just skip to the spoiler-filled version
Yes.
of it.
Yes.
But while we're doing that, just drop us a like, a comment, and
Yeah,
also
subscribe.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe on the YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify or any audio platform, subscribe to the YouTube. We've got videos.
Yeah.
But anyway, Thunderbolts, which opened up in Malaysia.
Yeah, which opened up in Malaysia. We saw Florence Pugh's Black Widow.
her Black Widow.
Oh, yeah. She is the Black
Yes,
Widow
she is.
now.
She is.
Started off in Merdeka Tower. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I really am happy to see signs of like awas.
Yeah, I know.
And
But
then-
at the same time, I was looking at it going, macam the interior bukan Malaysia.
Yeah, it's just
Macam
like- it's just like-
our side doesn't look
They-
correct.
they just went to Petaling Street. They found the Awas side, and then it's like, we're gonna bring this back. This is gonna be prop, right?
Yes. Also because it doesn't look like a regular our side.
Yeah,
That's the
it
thing.
really doesn't look like a.
I know I shouldn't have, but I kept looking at it going,
Maybe that's what the Awas sign looks like in the MCU. Okay.
oh, so it's a different
It's an
bahasa
alternate. Yeah,
Malaysia
it's
in,
an alternate world.
oh,
Okay, it's an
okay,
alternate
okay.
world, right? Yes, the movie opens up in Malaysia. We see Florence being very moody. This is all in the trailer as well,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Basically, this entire film revolves around trauma, revolves around shame, revolves around pain.
Yes.
and overallly, it's just not a good time.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Thunderbolts, right, as much as people don't like to call it the MCU versions of the Suicide Squad,
it really is.
it really is,
Yeah.
right? Because they are all unwanted characters, and if you don't follow the MCU versions of the TV series, right, like US Agent, for example, the Ghost, for example, Taskmaster, for example,
Yes.
right? It's all these characters that were in the sideline in the big MCU films.
Yeah. What essentially is the darkest moment in this? Well, not darkest moment. Why it feels very dark, very indie? Because I know that's the sort of thing they were going for. And this director, Jake Schreier, as well, he is known for making sort of indie darlings, things like Paper Towns, Frank and Robot. So adding that into this Marvel mix, it works so well. Like you've got the big bombastic action sequences,
Yep.
that's a given. But to add this huge depth of character work on a majority of them, sure, we're focused on Yelena, we're focused on Florence
Yep.
Pugh's character, but the others had their moment to sort of shine in that sense.
I have a note here, right? And I was trying to figure out what makes Thunderbolt different from the most recent Marvel film, which is Captain America: Brand New World.
Well, first of all, what made it better is it's not Captain America. Brave New
Yeah.
World. It doesn't have a red Hulk.
I mean, I have a lot to talk about that later on in the episode, right? But from my viewing of the movie itself, I feel like you mentioned to me this is a must-watch film, but you feel like it was a bit draggy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I feel like it's just nice. I do agree with you on the draggy part, but I feel like it's just nice for them to slowly peel back the layer of each characters. Because like I said earlier in the episode, all of these characters that we're seeing are supporting characters or like B-side, C-side, or
To
like
Yelena.
D-class
Yeah.
heroes, right? Even Yelena, when her sister was still alive, the original Black Widow, she was the number one Black Widow. She was the Avengers Black Widow.
These are essentially your, not anti-heroes, but your avant-garde heroes.
Okay, yeah. What I put here was unredeemable characters, right? Because they
okay.
have all done something bad in their past before.
Yeah.
And Julia Louis
Dreyfus, yeah. Her,
Dreyfus character Valentino.
Valentina.
Valentina.
Basically the shitty version of Nick Fury.
Yeah, right. She brought them all together. That's how we got the Thunderbolts in the first place, right?
Yes.
I feel like the characters and the time given to each of them to slowly understand their arc and slowly build the relationship between all of them makes sense. Because if not, what you will get is random exposition explaining who they are, where's their background, just like what we've seen from the Red Hulk, for example.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so every other Marvel project that's come out in the last few years.
right. which is annoying because they're just spoon feeding unnecessary information to the audiences, pretending like they're stupid. Because yes, if you want to be a Marvel fan, there will be homework to be done.
Yes.
Same like Star Wars as well, right?
Yes.
And this homework comes in the form of all the God knows what Act 1 all the way to like what Act 6 now.
Yes.
Like 20, 30, 40 films.
About there. The days of the early Marvel films are long gone, where you can just jump in and you're still okay.
Yep.
Phase 1 and Phase 2 is long over.
Yeah.
Once you hit Phase 3 onwards, you're going to have to do some homework.
And then this is also not going into like the expositions of all the TV series that they have, right?
But even then, if you watch the TV shows and you watch the previous films, you get a better understanding and will be more in tune with the movie.
Yep.
But at the same time, the film still works as a standalone, even if you don't know a majority of the characters. You still will understand this because somehow this film, I think, is the most relatable Marvel film for people because it talks about a lot of real topics. Things like grief, abuse, torture, things, well, okay, maybe torture not for everybody, but grief and abuse and all that. Those are topics, sure, we've seen before in things like WandaVision, but somehow, maybe it's because these cast of characters feel more normal than like massive superheroes.
Yes, they don't have extravagant powers. They don't have like they're not godlike.
They're not godlike.
Right?
And some of them have the
super
superhero serum and whatnot. They feel so human. That's what works.
Yes. And moving into the big bad of the film, right? Let's talk
Sentry.
about Sentry, for
Sorry,
example.
no. Let's talk about Bob.
Let's talk about Sentry first, right? Because you don't really see Bob in the trailer. You see,
do.
You do?
You do. You see him
Oh.
quite a few times. His name even pops up.
Oh shit. Okay,
Because
yeah.
it's Thunderbolts and Bob.
Right. Okay. But talking about the big bet, which is Sentry itself, when
Yeah.
you watch the trailer, you're gonna be like, okay, if you know of Sentry, right? You know that he is the equivalent of the Marvel's Superman.
Yeah.
He is super strong,
Yeah.
super intelligent. Wouldn't call him super intelligent, but he is indestructible. I would
Yeah.
say, right?
He is a force to be reckoned with.
And there's even a comic, if I'm not mistaken, where Sentry killed off the entire Avengers as
Oh,
well,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, how can something so strong be defeated?
Yeah.
And I really enjoy in the film itself, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't physically destroy him or kill him off.
That's something I'll talk about in the spoiler filled review episode review segment in a bit, because that's one that I had a minor issue with. Like, sure,
Okay.
the film is great. It's honestly an 8 out of 10 for me. But those 2 out of 10, there's just
Okay.
things that make it not perfect.
On my end, this is definitely like a 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
I enjoy the synergy of all the characters together, all the actors and actresses. They blend in so well.
Yeah.
Even though there are minor characters in the MCU that we know of.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the fight scenes. The fight scenes were great. I love how when they were defeated like you feel sorry for.
You feel
for
like
them.
how are they really
Yeah.
going to get out of this?
The oh my god moments in the film,
Yep.
where the antagonist became a true antagonist, you're like, oh shit, and you can feel the dread. I was in IMAX, and you can hear
Yeah.
the silence and the dread. Right. Another thing I enjoy and why I think people should watch this is because this is not a very CGI heavy film.
No,
It's,
yes.
That's one of the perks of they're not superheroes. They're not some super alien, super god, etc. There's very minimal CGI, which makes this feel very relatable, very practical,
Yes.
and you can relate to it.
Because at the end of the day, practical effects, I've said it before, it works
It
every
truly
single
works,
time.
right? And
sorry. Oh, yeah.
sorry.
And
And as a Malaysian, seeing Malaysia in an MCU film, I was like, bangga budak Malaysia.
better than that, it's not just, oh, here's Malaysia, it's throwaway. It's a fucking plot of the movie.
Yeah,
Like it
it is.
revolves
It is.
around it. But one last thing before we get into the spoiler filled thing is as much as we talk about these cast of characters, they all have great relationships, great chemistry together, but one to me stood out head and shoulders among the rest. That's David Harbour's Red Guardian.
Yeah.
I don't even care if people go, oh, he was just there for comedic humor. What does he do? I'm like, yes, he's there for comedic humor. I fucking love it.
I mean, just to wrap this up, right?
Yeah.
David Harbour's Red Guardian is the best version of a slapstick character in an action film.
Yes.
You know he's there to fuck around,
Yes.
right? You know he's
No,
there
he's not
to
there to
bring
fuck
the...
around. He's genuinely doing a good job, but the way that he does it, it's
Yeah.
just all kinds of wrong, but he believes I am the
Yes,
best.
yes.
Yes.
And
And-
I appreciate that his accent doesn't sound
Like Russell Crowe.
like Russell Crowe.
You see, my son.
No, David Harbour is full on...
craven. You have lion blood.
David Harbour's Red Guardian went full on generic Russian accent.
Yes.
And he's like the fun uncle in the film.
I love how he's gone all out with it, and the marketing has gone all out
Yep.
with him. Like, do you see the ad of his Red Guardian
Yes,
limo
yes, yes,
service?
yes.
And then turning up to CinemaCon in the Red Guardian limo with the cast. I'm like, this man is enjoying this role, and I can't wait to see more of
Yep,
him.
agreed.
I want a Red Guardian TV show. I don't want a movie because I want a series, because I feel a movie is just not enough.
Yeah.
Do like a Peacemaker series, but with Red Guardian.
That's what I was about to say.
It'll be
Right.
perfect.
Overall, 8 8 out of 10. 8
8
out of 10.
8 out of 10. It's
Yeah.
a good, solid comeback for Marvel. I would say, Marvel is back. But, that's always how it is.
Malaysia.
Marvel's back. Oh,
Yeah.
Marvel's gone. Oh, Marvel's back. Marvel's gone.
Exactly. This whole Phase 5, Phase 6 thing has been a bit on off, but this is definitely.
No, it's been on off since Phase 3. I'm sorry.
But Thunderbolts / AKA the new Avengers, definitely a solid must watch.
Yes.
Please check it out in
Yes.
the cinemas near you.
And now, after this, we are going to be talking about the spoiler moments within Thunderbolts.
Until then, be right back.
That's what they talk about!
That's not good.
So now on to the meaty bits, the
Yeah.
bits we couldn't talk about in the first part because they will ruin the experience for you. Now, first thing I want to talk about is that shift from Bob to Sentry.
I love it. Do you know Sentry was supposedly played by Steven Yeun?
Oh, Steven Yeun. Oh, that would have been interesting.
Because it will be very, very funny. Steven Yeun plays another character called the
Yes.
right? And in the he is also indestructible. He's
Yes.
right.
I'm wondering if Steven Yeun hasn't entered the Marvel universe yet. But
I
there's
don't think
always
so.
there's always been talks of a live action version of. So I wonder if contractually Amazon's not going to let him go.
But anyways, going back to Sentry, right?
Yes, yes.
Where Bob changed to the Sentry and
Yeah.
then the Sentry changed to the Void. I feel like Louis Pullman really pulled off all three characters
Yes.
so well because we've seen Bob before.
Yes.
We've seen Bob in
We've seen Bob as Bob in Top Gun.
in Top Gun.
Yes.
Right? He's this very awkward, timid character.
Yeah.
And then in Thunderbolts itself, he portrayed this very troubled teenage guy, and
Yeah.
he did mention the whole reason why he was in Malaysia was because he was trying to find himself.
Yeah.
He found some drugs, and then oxy
Something or other. Some chemical.
yeah, right. Anyways, the company found him and they tested him right,
Yeah.
with a new quote unquote super soldier serum
Yes.
itself, right?
Which turned him into Sentry. That is where one of my issues lie with the film.
Okay.
In the sense that, sure, Pullman was great. Like, he does Bob and Sentry and Void all so well. But I feel like the ending, like that third act, was incredibly rushed with Sentry. Like, Sentry, like we talked about in the first part, is such a big character in the sense that he's indestructible. But he comes in the third act, oh, there's danger, oh, we've solved it, the end. I feel, again, like with Taskmaster in Black Widow, it was underutilized. Like, I want more stakes. Like, if you introduced that shift to Sentry in the middle of the film,
Okay.
and then you spend the second half going, how are they going to defeat this guy? Because look at everything he's
Yeah.
doing. But at the end of it, it's like, oh,
The power of hugs and love.
at the end. So Marvel seems to have this formula now, which I hate, of let's rush the third act. Like, here's everything, climax, and the end.
I mean, we seen it with the Red Hulk as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, it took
But
us
the
the
Red
whole.
Hulk was barely there.
Yeah, it took us the. That's why it's rushed.
Yeah.
That's why it's rushed, right? It took us the whole film to actually see the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
And then when he came out, he just jumped around, smashed around, and then okay, the end, right?
Yeah. And same thing with the Sentry again.
Yeah, same thing with Sentry / the Void, because in the second act where Sentry came out as this golden boy, right, like
Yeah.
this hero of the people,
Yes.
right, hero of 1,000 suns or something along the lines of that, we're like, okay, Bob really changed, and then you can see his demeanor came out, and he's
Yeah.
like, if I'm a god, why do I need to listen to you?
Yeah.
I can beat everyone up, which he did.
Yeah.
Right, the entire Thunderbolts came, and then he just threw people around. Red Guardian was thrown around like a puppet, like
Yeah.
Loki in the first Avengers.
Yes.
It was scary.
It was.
very, very
And I will admit
scary.
that effect of everyone turning into shadows is just as scary
Yeah.
as the snap.
I truly enjoy when Sentry turned into the Void. The entire character design where he's just a shadow.
Yeah.
And you can just see his glimmering eyes, very, very similar to like predators
Yes.
in the nighttime where
Yeah.
you only see the gloss of their eyes. And he's just not only that, but the way he changed his voice to something super slow, super
Yeah.
low, and super
Yes.
scary, right?
And to me, I'm like, okay, I get that change. I would have liked to have more lead up to that change of like, oh yeah, oh he's turning bad. Oh, this is not going to be good. It's just, he's bad now. Oh, okay. I felt that was too quick. Like,
Okay.
especially how the tone of the film has been, where it takes its time.
Yep.
We're getting into a story, and then suddenly everything is so fast paced
Yep.
and quickly moves. It feels.
Especially with the shame rooms as well, where
Yeah.
Yelena's character was like, okay, we can't kill him with force.
Yeah.
Let me try step into the shadow with him.
Yeah.
And then once she stepped into the shadow, that's where I agree with you, where everything was just fast paced.
It just moved way too fast, and it was a shame because to me, that stopped it from being a perfect 10.
Yeah.
Because it felt rushed. But apart from that, like I said, the pacing as well, for me at least, felt a bit draggy. But apart from that, it was a solid film. Like we said, the cast is fantastic. That post-credit sequence where they unveiled that they are the new Avengers was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like in the shame room where all of the Thunderbolts went into the shadows with them, I feel like it's a shame, pun intended, that we don't see the backstory of some of the characters as well.
Yeah.
Right? I would like to see the backstory of the shame sequences of Red Guardian, for example.
Yeah.
Or the Ghost, for example. Bucky, we've seen enough of.
Bucky we've seen enough.
Right? There are some characters as well. I also want to add on Taskmaster. I feel very, very sad that her potential was just that 2 seconds in the beginning.
Yeah.
She was a very, very good anti-hero assassin.
Yeah.
Because if you know the backstory of Taskmaster, she can copy almost every move as long as she can see.
Yeah.
Right? That's why she has the whole shield as well, because she was fighting Captain America. I mean, she can learn the moves of Captain America as well.
Yes.
Unfortunate what happened to her. I hated the fact that she was on the trailers, the posters, and you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? That's all.
And also, that's another slight issue. Like with Taskmaster, you have built Taskmaster up in Black Widow to be literally an unstoppable force, because how do you kill somebody that can literally mimic you? Like you're fighting yourself. So how did it become so easy to kill her in Thunderbolts? And then US Agent, I agree, backstory, I felt I would have liked more, because the last time we saw US Agent was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And he was so adamant of like, I'm not joining your team. Forget your team. Why suddenly so quick to join, to be part of Thunderbolts?
I would like to say Wyatt Russell's US agent did really, really well. I feel like in this film itself, he as a character, he redeemed himself.
Yeah.
Still not the goody two shoes scout boy that he wants to be.
Yeah.
But I felt like he found a bit of humanity working as a team. Right.
And I feel like that's the issue with an indie film director. Because sure, he can do a lot of character work, a lot of that, and it works. But when it comes to the ending, you have this arc and you can slowly end it with like a drama or romance. It's an easy arc. But how do you end an action film like this? So I feel that's where that downfall came. And also maybe because too many cooks spoil the broth, in the sense of he had to write for a lot of characters.
Oh, yeah.
The writers had to write a lot of stuff for the characters. And there's only so much you can do. So, sure, we focused on Yelena most of the time. But then I feel like it shouldn't be called the Thunderbolts then. It should be Yelena and the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Yelena
because
and the
Thunderbolts gives the illusion that we're going to focus on all the characters, give even enough backstories to all of the characters. But that's not what it's at play here.
It's like what we saw from the original Avengers film, right? Where all the characters have their own film and then slowly build up, and then boom, right? One final fight, which is an entire movie of its own.
Yeah.
But for Thunderbolts, they had to squeeze all of the characters together.
Yeah.
Although we have already seen them in other films.
Yeah.
Right?
But there is enough to be like, okay, we still get them. Sure, I would like to know more, but we know the basics. That's essentially it.
I mean, just based on the basics itself, again, I just want to say that the entire film did really, really well. The characters are all, although a lot of them you have not heard of,
Yeah.
but they synchronize so well together on the screen, and you can see that all of their stories are slowly peeled back, and then how they work together, how they were trying to figure out who was the main antagonist of the film.
Yeah. At the end of the day, The Thunderbolts is a massively successful film. Despite its downfalls, it is still very much worth the watch. And as Malaysians, we now can claim a superhero. And it's not Klong Man. It is Bob.
It is Bob.
Because Bob buatan Malaysia.
Sure,
true.
sure, Nick.
He was made in Malaysia.
Sure, Nick.
So, if you're listening to this, you've watched Thunderbolts already, and if you haven't, why are you listening to the second part?
But what I really want to know is, like, if you're watching this part, you definitely have watched the film.
Yeah.
I want to know what you think about Thunderbolts as a whole.
Yeah.
Because again, we already said in the spoiler-free part of the episode, we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we feel like this is one of the best Marvel films since Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yes.
Since Deadpool, since Endgame. This is definitely, I wouldn't say top 5, but it's up there.
It's up there. Now we wait for Fantastic Four. And if there's anything, Thunderbolts are probably going to be involved in that in some sense as well. Because post-credit, we get the Fantastic Four. Not them, but just like an illusion of the Fantastic Four.
Just an illusion, which is I mean, can we say it?
What? Spoiler already? What?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. It's basically the ship coming into orbit of Earth.
Yeah. Also, you watched it in IMAX, right?
Yeah.
So you got that Fantastic Four IMAX.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic, right?
When I saw that, I remember you texting me saying that there's this countdown. The countdown card, and then when I saw the countdown, I was like 10, 9, 8, and then it's like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then once it got to like 6, 5, and then 4, I was like, oh shit, this is what Nick was talking about.
This is the Fantastic Four
I feel
IMAX
like that is
intro.
definitely something very, very welcoming, and I hope to see more in the future as well.
Yes.
But then at the same time, we don't usually get 2 Marvel film in a year.
Wait, no, we have.
Have we?
Yeah, I'm sure we have.
Yeah, but
I'm
no,
sure we
so
have.
close together, so
Oh,
close
so
together,
close together,
right?
no, yeah.
Because it's nice to see one after another, but then timeline wise, the Fantastic Four is going to be like years before,
Yeah.
right?
Which is why them meeting the Thunderbolts, like, ooh, what multiverse
that
thing is
gonna be
happening again?
fascinating. That's definitely going to be fascinating.
So yes, go and watch the Thunderbolts or the new Avengers. It's in cinemas now everywhere. I think. Japan, it's out. For once in
Okay,
Japan, it's
sure.
out on time. Thank you so much again for watching. You can check us out on all social media, Instagram, TikTok, and of course YouTube.
At RRP for all things Malaysian podcasting.
There you go. Thank you so much again for watching. I am Nick Dorian.
And I'm Kelvin Tay.
Keep watching the movies.
Toodaloo.